Dave Adams of the Virginia Shooting Sports Association is with us on the program right now. Dave, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Cam.
It seems like we are off to a very busy start here in Virginia. I'm looking at a story from WRIC in Richmond. Over 70 bills about firearms have already been filed in Virginia this year?
Yep, and after updating the VSSA website's legislative tracking form earlier this morning, I went back and checked before you came on the phone, and there's been additional bills dropped since this morning. So it's going to be a flurry of legislation between now and next Friday when the last day to introduce legislation rolls around.
So we still have a whole other week where bills can be filed then?
Yep.
Okay. Now, these are both pro-gun and anti-gun bills that are coming in here, right?
Yes, and there are a larger number of anti-gun bills, and there are a lot of duplicates in there. So it's a little bit misleading when you think of 70 bills. There are a lot of duplicates in there, especially on the anti-gun side.
Are there any themes there? If there are duplicates, what are some of the duplicate bills that are being filed? What do they deal with?
Terrorist watch list. There are a couple of bills along those lines. The usual suspects of trying to impose background checks on private sales at gun shows, as well as two different versions of bills that would basically criminalize private sale of firearms by an individual. Donald McEachin, state senator from Richmond, has a bill that prohibits private sales of firearms. There's another bill that would require a private citizen to have a permit to sell a firearm from their private collection, so things like that.
All right. Are these bills coming, Dave, from the usual suspects, the folks who tend to file gun control bills every year?
Pretty much. And in fact, it looks like State Senator Dave Marsden from the Northern Virginia area has been chosen as the gun ban lobby's go-to person, because he is the one who has put in bills along the same themes of bills that you hear coming out of every town for gun safety, which have to do with domestic violence restraining order type bills, and the reinstatement of one gun a month. He's got like 6 or 7 bills that would come on that list of things that they always trot out every year.
Given the political makeup of the Virginia legislature, Dave, it seems to me that it would be highly unlikely for any of these gun control bills to get to Governor McAuliffe's desk.
While I'm not a person to say never,
right.
You're probably right. It's going to be very difficult for any anti-gun bill to get out of the House. And in fact, the way the Senate Courts of Justice Committee is structured this year, with Senator Mark Obenchain as the new chairman, Senator Tommy Norman is now the co-chair of Senate Finance. He has been the chair of Courts of Justice for the last several years when the Republicans took back control. And in the past, when the GOP had control, he was chairman. And while he is not an A-rated state senator, he, for the most part, has been with us. But now to have someone like Senator Mark Obenchain, who is an A-plus rated state senator, chairing that committee, there's only 4 really strong anti-gun state senators on that committee now. It's overwhelmingly pro-gun. So I would predict that anything bad getting out of the state Senate committee, much less getting out of the Senate floor, is going to be hard to do.
Okay, and that's good to know. But again, I want gun owners in Virginia to be involved. I want them to be contacting their state senators and their state representatives. Don't rest easy here. But this is also a year, it seems, Dave, that we might be able to get some pro-gun bills to Governor McAuliffe, even if he were to try to veto those bills.
Absolutely. In fact, what we want to do Senator Tom Garrett has put in a bill that would overturn Mark Herring's act back just before Christmas, where he unrecognized basically 25 states' concealed carry permits effective February 1. Senator Garrett's bill would make the state legislature now the entity that would recognize the concealed carry permits. If that bill gets through both houses and gets to the governor's desk, I would predict that he would veto that, and so then we would need 23 or 24 votes in the state Senate to override that, which means we'd have to have 3 Democrats. I can count one absolutely pro-gun Democrat from the Roanoke area, John Edwards, who was NRA endorsed last year. Cray Deeds, for the most part, is with us. So then we need that third Democrat, and Chap Peterson from Northern Virginia could possibly be that Democrat because he voted in favor of repealing the restaurant ban several years ago as a Democrat. So we know that he at least is favorable to some form of concealed carry. So that's going to be where we need gun owners to be active, contacting those legislators, and not sitting back thinking that because we have a pro-gun Senate and pro-gun House that there's nothing to do this year.
Well, no, I mean quite the opposite. I think that there's even more to do, and Dave, I'm sure this has been the number one question that you've been asked over the past month or so as well. So what can we do? Right? What can we do about what Mark Herring did? What can we do to get our reciprocity back? And this is what we can do.
Absolutely. And in fact, changing who has responsibility for approving those, taking it out of the hands of the Attorney General and out of the hands of the state police, because the state police superintendent is appointed by the governor. So like a big city mayor, he's going to do what the governor wants him to do. So he acquiesced in the plan that the Attorney General cooked up. And in fact, it's funny, you may or may not have seen the article about the Kansas Attorney General wanting a written explanation from Herring as to what changed since 2014 when his office went into a recognition agreement with the state of Kansas.
Talking again with Dave Adams of the Virginia Shooting Sports Association. Well, Dave, it looks like it's going to be a very busy legislative session here in Virginia. I appreciate you joining us for the first of what I hope will be many appearances during the session.
Absolutely, and just all your listeners that live in Virginia, please go to www.myvssa.org. We have a legislative tracking form that all they have to do is click the link. They can keep up with all the bills. If they're not members of VSSA, and say, look, we've got thousands and thousands of members in Virginia that need your support to restore the rights taken away by McAuliffe and Mark Herring.
Dave Adams with us here on NRANews Cam Edwards, Legislative Affairs Director for the Virginia Shooting Sports Association. Thank you, Dave, and we'll talk again very soon.
Thanks a lot, Cam.